from Ronald Reagan's birth house in Tampico, Illinois, on day 18 of Run Across America for Global Disciples. Here I'm with my good friend and curator at the Ronald Reagan birth house, and in this episode of Ask Dutch, we have the three following questions. How did Ronald Reagan get the nickname Dutch?
Well, the story is that when he was born, he was 10 pounds. He was a large baby, and his father, when he saw him, he looks like a little fat Dutchman. And that was the story, the original story of how he was named Dutch. So, and that kind of stuck.
That's wonderful. One of the ways I got the nickname Dutch as a young boy, my dad did some shopping at a local Heckinger's. And I was a pretty mischievous little kid and got lost. And as my dad went to the store manager in the front of the store, he said, "Where's my son? Can you help me find my son?" And the store manager asked, "What does your son look like?" My dad turned around, and they used to have back in the day Dutch boy paints.
Oh, yeah.
And he says he looks like the little Dutch boy on Dutch boy paints. And that's how I got the nickname Dutch as well. And so I had a little Dutch boy haircut at the time and things like that. Now I have a question about Ronald Reagan. What is the town of Tampico like? Where did he shape his worldview from? Growing up here in Tampico and here in Illinois, what type of community is it?
Well, it was a rural, farm-related community where the bankers and the grocers depended on the farm community, and all the farmers would come in on Saturday night and do the shopping. But basically, they were hard-working people who valued work as a way to get ahead, and they just were good people. They were Christian. They went to church. There was 4 different churches here in the little town of Tampico, and most everybody had some sort of church connection. So I'd say that was.
And Gary, so faith was an important part of the community?
Absolutely.
And the idea of doing community service, because Ronald Reagan, from what I understand, he was a governor as well as a president.
Right.
And so that idea of public service was a major part of loving your neighbor as you wish. Now, this being the birthplace, what's your most prized possession here, Gary, at the Ronald Reagan birth house here in Tampico?
Well, that's a good question. There are several. There's letters that we've received from Ronald after our people corresponded with him. Of course, they were on the special events like congratulations on your election or on your birthday.
Absolutely.
And we have several letters under his signature. There aren't many artifacts. The furniture was all period furniture like here,
Sure.
but they were a poor family and they took everything when they moved. So I guess pictures, we have pictures of Ronald, and when he visited here, that's important to us. Like his last visit in 1992, before he got struck down with Alzheimer's, and so those are valuable. And
could you share with us a little bit about his family, about his mom, his dad, his brother? What type of family were they?
Well, his father was a clerk in the general store across the street. His father was Irish Catholic, and his mother was Protestant. She was very religious, and in her writings you can detect it. She always mentioned a religious bent, and so Ronald went to church with his mother in the Church of Christ.
And I understand that the father died in his 50s.
Right.
And so how old would have Ronald Reagan been when his dad died in his 50s? Would he have been college age?
He was past college age, because Ronald, when he got out of college, he was a radio announcer in Davenport and then WHO in Des Moines, and then he got his start in Hollywood. After he got established in Hollywood a few years, then he bought a house for his parents, and then moved from Dixon to California. And then Ronald's father worked with Ronald's correspondence as a movie star, you know, and mailed out photos and letters from fan clubs and all that. And around 1950 is when his father died. So Ronald was mature by that time, because Ronald was born in 1911. So.
And how did you get involved, Gary, with the Ronald Reagan birth house here in Tampico? How did that come around?
Well, I was born and raised here in Tampico, and interested in Ronald, and I revered him as a special person. And so when they opened the museum and birthplace here, I volunteered to help out. So I come up a couple times a month. I'll come down from Moline, where I live about 50 miles away, and spend the day here operating the birthplace.
And you're a volunteer.
I'm actually a volunteer. I'm not the curator. There's Joan Johnson is the volunteer coordinator, and she kind of runs the place.
And what did you admire most? Some of our young viewers weren't alive when Ronald Reagan was president and never got to know of him. What do you think his lasting legacy was, or what inspired you to get involved? What were the characteristics, personal characteristics of Ronald Reagan that you admired?
Well, he believed in hard work and also in self-sufficiency. He didn't like the welfare state idea, and he believed in less government, more people-oriented administration of their own affairs, and less intrusion of government in private affairs.
He believed in the power of the individual to create positive change for their lives,
Right.
rather than have government dictate what. He actually had a lot of faith in the American people,
Right.
didn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And you can see that through his mother and his father and their faith in God, that it's up to each one of us. Each one of us has gifts to give to make a positive difference, and that's what he did.
Right.
That's wonderful. Gary, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
My pleasure.
All right.